Okay, so a police officer or a police station was trying to hire an officer who was, I guess, affiliated or a member of the KKK. I typed all this in on my YouTube and I got like a conglomerate clusterfuck of videos. So I don't know which one it is because I don't have the article on Top Buzz. I did post it on my Facebook timeline. We're not going to go through my cell phone and try to find that. So I'm going to go to this one first. I'm not sure if it's the right one, but there is a lot of them. And none of them look exactly like the guy that was in my thing. But just the concept alone has me freaking the hell out because of the incident here in Charlottesville with white supremacists, you know, doing all the shit that they've done. And so there's like a big time ton of stuff. So I'm gonna go with the Young Turks one. I think this is the Young Turks. It's like 44 seconds, and then I'm gonna go with the one that may be longer, and then I'm gonna go with another one, and then I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this because, as you heard me like 5 seconds ago, this is freaking me the fuck out. Because if the Ku Klux Klan can infiltrate the police stations in the world, who's to say that they're not going to hurt people of color? They're not just targeting blacks, you know. The Ku Klux Klan has never been just about getting blacks. They're about everybody who's not blue-eyed and blonde. They also have attacked other white people. They have attacked white people who associate with black people just because of the NL word. And, you know, we need to be concerned about that. There has to be a venting process. It's the same thing with if you're racist in the military. You're generally going to be outed eventually, especially if you're in a platoon full of all the people of races that you hate. And it won't take long before your true colors show. But in the military, I learned two things. The first thing is that we are all family. Once you sign that dotted line and once you take that oath and once you're sworn in, we're all family. Regardless of whether you are in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and the Marines, you're all family. Once a service soldier, always a soldier. Second thing I learned, we only got one color, green. And if you're in the Navy, you guys get blue. If you're in the Coast Guard, you get blue. But for the Army, the Marines, and the Air Force, the shit's green. Alright? We're all green. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're all green. It's the blue for the Navy and Coast Guard. I know that much has got to be true because every time I've spoken to a Navy person in a Navy uniform, they're in blue. No. Now, I can't say shit about Special Forces because I'm not in Special Forces. I was in the Army. I was infantry. I was an Army National Guard. I can only tell you what I know and what I was taught while I was in the boot camp thing, and that's pretty much it. Now, I never got deployed, but my plan was to be deployed and never come back and just keep going and going until I can't. Sadly, God and my hip had other problems or plans. So I'm going to show you these videos. I'm going to give you some commentary, more than what I just gave you, out of the fact that that shit scares the hell out of me and creeps me the fuck out. You know, you guys need to pay attention to this shit. Because, you know, I mostly wanted to do this Kung Fu stuff for just Kung Fu. But I'm going to show you stuff, and this might not be Young Turks. Just to clear that out. Although I'm pretty sure they're probably all on top of it. I love the Young Turks. If they give me a job, I'll gladly take it. But for the sake of argument, you know, whoever this person's are, this is like 40 seconds, 44 seconds. So here you go.
Well, 2 Florida police officers are out of a job after an FBI report tied them to the Ku Klux Klan. That's right, Fruitland Park Deputy Chief David Borst resigned and Officer George Honeywell was fired last week, according to the city manager. The link between the KKK and these guys surfaced in a report from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement based on information from the FBI, which learned about the connection during a broader investigation. The city of 5,000 residents is located about 40 miles northwest of Orlando. Now, Fruitland Park is in Lake County, where KKK violence in the 40s and 50s was chronicled in the Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Devil in the Grove.
Okay, so that's one. And that's creepy as crap, because that's not the one that came across Top Buzz. Top Buzz was one that, we'll try this one. Was where
a brawl between KKK members and counter-protesters broke out in Anaheim, California on Saturday. Despite police presence, at least 3 people were stabbed. At least 12 people were taken into custody. A KKK spokesperson described the planned event as a White Lives Matter protest. When Klan members arrived, counter-protesters reportedly confronted them. An expert on the study of extremism told the Los Angeles Times the sect of the KKK involved in the incident see themselves as a Klan without robes. Police told outlets the 3 people stabbed were all counter-protesters. Officials said one protester may have been stabbed by a Klan member using a metal eagle at the end of a flagpole. For Newsy, I'm Carter Woodhill.
A bayonet. That's not the one either, but you know, this racist rhetoric that we are feeling in America, that might be it. This might not be it. It might be it. It's still say police hiring.
A big job opportunity for those who want to get into law enforcement. Norman Police are hiring. Here's KOCO's Paul Folger.
Norman Police are looking for a few good officers, actually more than a dozen. How you can become one is new this morning. This week, Norman Police welcomed 7 new officers into its fold. They're now graduated and ready to move to field training, but they need more officers.
We're about 19 officers down right now.
Down because some are retiring, and that's making room for these new officers.
We're authorized for 173 officers. We're sitting at about 159.
That means there is work for those who want to be a Norman police officer. If you want to get into the next training class, it begins on October 4th. In the newsroom, I'm Paul Folger, KOCO 5 News.
Okay, this is totally not it. Sorry, Mr. Folger. African-American man convinces Ku Klux Klansman to leave. That is not it. Michigan police officer placed on leave following the KKK. Let's try that one. Y'all understand this is not what came to Top Buzz, so I can't really find that one.
With IP Vantage.
But this is just some shocking
Developing
stuff.
right now, an investigation is underway in West Michigan after KKK memorabilia was found in a police officer's home. And the same officer was cleared by state police in the 2009 killing of a man during a traffic stop. The officer is on leave, and the community is demanding answers. Barton Dieters reports.
Rena and Robert Mathis were looking at the charming home on a large wooded lot in Holton when they noticed something disturbing. They didn't know it, but the house belonged to Muskegon police officer Charles Chuck Anderson.
It was a full-length Confederate flag, so I'm like, I'm not liking this. There's one plaque on the wall. So I walk over to the wall and I read the plaque and it said KKK application. So I was like, I'm done. I say, I want to get out of here right now.
The couple put their findings on Facebook, and it got the attention of the community, leading to city officials announcing that Anderson was on leave pending an investigation. We went to the home to talk to Anderson, who was there, but his wife came to the door.
Can't say anything right now. Wish we could, because it would probably set a lot of things straight, but...
He's not.
Correct.
He's not a member of the Klan.
No, he's not.
Okay.
The incident has the attention of the Muskegon County NAACP.
We want a thorough investigation to be sure that when he goes out there and puts on that uniform and performs his duties as an officer, that he's being fair and impartial.
He says as a former police officer between 1998 and 2008, he believes the department has come a long way and asks for the community to be patient. But he says the NAACP will be watching and demanding answers.
Why would he leave it up and knowing that his house was being shown to be sold?
In September of 2009, Anderson shot 31-year-old Julius Johnson following a traffic stop when Johnson allegedly ran and then fought with Anderson, using the officer's own radio and club to bludgeon him. The officer then shot him. A Michigan State Police investigation found the shooting justified, but the then NAACP leader wanted more to be done, calling for a federal investigation that never came.
While there is no quick fix to these problems, we must face them responsibly and persistently. That means whatever we start, we must finish.
Johnson's sister said at the time that her brother begged for his life before he was killed. She was found guilty of lying to police and was sentenced to 3 to 15 months in jail. Here's what she said in 2009.
Every day I go just driving through the alley or just coming home, every day I live with it. And it's getting harder and harder by the day because we're still not getting answers. So it's just, You know, I'm just ready to get some kind of closure so we can also move forward as a family. And it's just hard because they're not giving us any answers.
Now the couple who went through the house also want some answers.
I like antiques, but I collect things that I represent. Like I said, you can go in my basement. We have Detroit Lions, Red Wings, Michigan stuff, everything we associate ourselves with. So why would you collect something you don't associate yourself with?
The officer's wife insists her husband is not a member of the KKK.
Okay, well, I can't knock her for defending her husband. Now, this is sad, so we gotta go ahead and touch it.
Police in Louisiana say a local Ku Klux Klan leader shot and killed a woman when her initiation ritual went awry.
A situation that almost defies logic when you think you've seen it all, things like this occur. But this was a case where in the woods, in some sordid ritual event, that things went terribly wrong.
Authorities aren't releasing the exact details or the victim's name yet, but are holding this man, Raymond Foster, on second-degree murder charges and 7 others on charges of obstructing justice. He says the group lured the woman from Oklahoma to join the white supremacist group. He says it was during that ritual that an argument broke out and she asked to be taken back to town. And it was sometime after that that she was killed.
The group began an effort to try to sanitize the crime scene, removing the victim's body a good deal away from where the crime occurred, and then burned a great deal of the area.
However, officials say those involved started acting suspiciously.
The clerk or cashier reported some suspicious activity of individuals coming in the store, asking more or less, how do you get blood off your clothes?
Foster is being held without bond.
No shit.
Ed Donahue, The Associated Press.
You know, it's funny, when the Ku Klux Klan came to Charlottesville, there wasn't any drama. We didn't have any problems with them or anything. And then the Unite the Right thing happened, and it was just awful from there. Now, we're gonna come back to that one, because I can't find the one. Okay, that's sad. We might as well go ahead and look at this one too. Like I said, I can't find the one that came from Top Buzz, and so I'm kind of upset because that was kind of important.
Going on now.
But these are all related stories to that.
Actor dealer to test drive the 2019 ILS, starting MSRP $25,900.
And it's kind of
in Missouri, a Ku Klux Klan leader is shot and killed in his bedroom, and officials say his own family was behind the murder. Frank Ancona's body was found Saturday about 20 miles from his home. He had been shot in the head.
Prosecutors say his Klan membership was not a factor in the killing, but rather that the motive was more personal. They say Ancona had told his wife he wanted a divorce. Melissa Ancona and her son Paul Jickerson are charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and abandonment of a corpse. Investigators say Jickerson was the one who pulled the trigger and that Melissa helped clean up the scene. Both are being held without bail.
Yeah, that's kind of ironic and fracked up. I was a neo-Nazi, skinhead, and joined the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, that dude had some issues. Here we go. Here's one. Are KKK members infiltrating our police departments? The answer is fuck
John,
yes.
In Los Angeles. Hey, John, what's on your mind?
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Thanks, John. Can you take off the speakerphone, please? It sounds like you're calling from the bottom of a soup can.
I certainly can. Give me just a second here.
Thank you.
Oh, that's that. Okay, is that better?
That's much better. What's up?
Great. Well, what I wanted to get your commentary on is in 2006, the FBI put out a report that the KKK had infiltrated police departments all over the country.
Yes.
And it appears to me, I haven't seen any follow-up from any politician or organization to say what they were going to do about this infiltration.
Are you, if I may, are you talking about the 2008 study that the Justice Department did on right-wing extremism, that there was so much pressure on them that they withdrew it or retracted it? They had done one on... No, it's not that. Okay, I'm not explicitly familiar with the one you're talking about then, John. I'm sorry.
Okay, so this is a very important point. In 2006, the FBI out a report documenting that the KKK has infiltrated police departments all over the country. And if you Google right now simply KKK and police departments, there's listings on Google of KKK members that have been exposed within police departments all over the country.
Yeah, okay, I've got the report right here. Yeah, thanks for the heads up on this.
That this phenomenon that we're seeing of police officers, white police officers, shooting black citizens that are unarmed, and now we've got it all on video, it appears to me to be consistent with the kind of behavior that a KKK member could participate in if he had a badge and a gun and the authority to shoot people. So I'd like to get your commentary on the possibility that this is happening and on the importance of this type of report saying that these people are, in fact, in our police departments, and our police departments are right now participating in behavior that would be consistent with their presence in the police department, and that perhaps what we need to be doing is starting to look into our police departments and find out, do we have KKK members in the police department right now?
Well, clearly we do.
What is the effect in community policing on people of color if KKK members are members of the police department?
Well, in 2006...
I'll let that go and I'll let you comment.
This is from an article in the Grio in 2014. It says, this year alone, at least 7 San Francisco law enforcement officers were suspended after an investigation revealed they exchanged numerous white power communications laden with remarks about lynching African Americans and burning crosses. 3 reputed Klan members that served as corrections officers were arrested for conspiring to murder a black inmate. At least 4 Fort Lauderdale police officers were fired after an investigation found that the officers fantasized about killing black suspects. So, there's a great article about this by Chi-Town Kev over at Daily Kos on May 21st, 2015. Thursday, May 21st. And, wow. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. But it's not just that. I mean, we have to go back to this larger issue that, particularly in the South, many of today's, organized police forces literally started out as slave patrols and just continued to carry that job, essentially, of maintaining white supremacy, white control, white power. Continued that after the Civil War, continued that through Reconstruction, continued that through Jim Crow, continued that, right to this day. And whether they even explicitly know that or not, that's the culture that they're seeped in. That's the history of the institution that they're seeped in. So, John, this is something that needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be dealt with in a big and systemic way. And stop and frisk is not the answer.
How do we go about if the FBI, which is one of the biggest institutions that we have, has already put out this report? It's been 10 years. And so we can only assume that unless the policeman has retired over the last 10 years, that the people that they spotted 10 years ago are still there.
Well, many of them were actually fired. Many of them were fired when they were outed. But it's the KKK infiltrating police departments is a small piece of a much larger issue, which is police departments being used as essentially instruments of white oppression, and that has been going on in this country from day one. I mean, it was part of the founding of this country. And so I think that we need to look at radical systemic structural change If the country of Germany, which is, what, I think 53 million people, and we're at 230, so it's about 1/5 the size of the United States, maybe a little more than a quarter the size of the United States. In all of 2013, in all of 2014, the German police shot and killed 0 citizens, 0. And in the United States, just this year, the police have killed in this country over 730 people. And this should, in Great Britain, a police officer can't even get a gun for several years after they've been hired. There's a long training and apprenticeship period, plus, very, very high standards for policing. And that's true of most of Europe, because they don't have this history of their police being their slave patrols. And certainly after World War II and Europe's brush with fascism, which was helped along by their police departments, they want to make sure that never happens again. We need to wake the hell up and do something about
Amen.
this. John,
too bad I didn't find
thank
this
you
2
for the
years
call.
ago when
These
Charlottesville
are
was going to
important
hell
issues.
in a handbasket. So we touched on that. And like I said, I don't know which one of these things was the one that came up on Top Buzz. But there is a lot of these out here. And then there's these people. I'm going to give you the short version of whatever this is. And then I'm going to do commentary.
I walked into the living room on the coffee table. Not the coffee table, it was a large dining room table. It was a placemat of a Confederate flag. So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be funny if this was a Klansman house? So I just, thought that to myself, and I just kept walking through the property looking around. So we went to the garage, went through the basement and went to a garage, and on the 2 walls, 2 more Confederate flags. I thought to myself again, this is really some strange stuff, but okay, I gotta look at the big picture here. I'm doing this for my family. So we was coming back upstairs, going through the house. My wife seen a Muskegon police jacket. She said, well, we're in a policeman's home. So I'm like, okay. So I was telling my son, be cool, don't touch nothing. And I see a gun cabinet, and it's a picture of the actual officer. And there was another gentleman in the picture with him. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is the policeman right here. So as I turned around, it was a wall, and it was just one plaque on the wall. So I walked up to the plaque, and I looked at it, and I read it. And it was an application for the Ku Klux Klan. And I was just so disgusted. I told my son, I said, let's go. We're getting out of here. This is a Klan house, really. We have to go right now. You can't serve your community and be a racist. You can't. There's people of all different colors, of all different nationalities that's out there that you have to serve and protect. You can't just protect one group of people. And I felt that it was my duty to say something about it, and I prayed about it before I even said something about it on social media.
We were told that he collects antiques, and that's why the stuff was there. It was just very uncomfortable to me because the way it made us feel, like he didn't know if blacks or whites or whoever was walking in there, but he left it there proudly. The fact that my daughter was with me and she's 12 and she's asking, her dad why he's so upset and what happened, and and then we have to break it down to her and explain stuff like that to her. And then it was just a lot. It was very overwhelming. It was a lot.
Yeah, it was basically, also telling me that he only whites only to purchase his house back. People who had that type of hate in their heart, he wanted those people. So the stuff that was on the wall was like, you don't want this house. You stay away and keep up.
Okay, so now we're going to go to me. I'm sorry you guys have to look at my ugly face again, but here we go. So, you've seen that. This is like probably the longest video because it's like so home-struck. In Charlottesville, we had our incidences. You know, we had the white supremacists come through. We had the Ku Klux Klan come through. And I'm gonna tell you, the Klan came in first. And when the Klan came in, there was like no big clusterfuck or anything. Everything was almost like peachy keen. And when the alt-right movement came in, I'm gonna have to make a third video because this is almost 30 minutes long from all the clips.